So we're going to hop right back into Masechet Makot, and so we ended at the Gemara at the bottom of the page on Daf Gimel Amud Aleph, and today's today's Amud is Daf Gimel Amud Bet, but we ended at the bottom of Daf Gimel Amud Aleph last time, and just to recap on what the Mishnah was talking about, it says that two Edim Zomim come and say that this guy, he got a loan on a 30-day terms, meaning you have to pay the money back in 30 days. And then the guy says, what are you talking about? It was on a 10-year term, meaning I have to pay it back in 10 years. So when these two edim are found to be zomumin, they don't give back the full amount of the loan, because that's not what they were trying to inflict. They were trying to make him give the money earlier. So you give them the punishment that they have to pay. The value of having the money for the difference in time, meaning the value of a 30-day loan and the value of a 10-year loan are very different, and so you evaluate the value of those two loans, and then the difference is what you charge the edim zomimim. Good. Okay, goes to the Gemara. Amar Yehuda, Amar Shmuel. Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel, if somebody gives a loan for 10 years, something that you need to know is that every 7 years is something called the Shemitah year, which is every 7 years in Israel. And in the Shemitah year, all loans are null and void. All the loans are forgotten. Now, it's written in the Torah that a lender cannot press the borrower to pay it back. Meaning, if I lend you $1,000 and then Shemitah comes around, I can't ask you for the $1,000. I'm not allowed to press you for it. So pretty much, if I can't ask you for it, then it means that the loan is null and void. So it erases itself. So Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel, so Shmuel says that if somebody lends somebody a loan for a 10-year period, Shvi'it Mishamateto, the 7th year, the sabbatical year, the year of the Shemitah, it cancels it. The 7th year, the Shvi'it, the 7th year, which is the Shemitah year, cancels a loan. So if I give you a 10-year loan, then by definition, there has to be a Shemitah in the middle of those 10 years. So it'll cancel the loan. And even though now we cannot apply the lo yigash, which means that you can't press it, because if I loan you something for 10 years and the 4th year is the Shemitah year, then at the 10-year mark is when the lo yigash comes into effect. Because at the 10-year mark is when I would want to ask you for it. But because the Shemitah happened at year 4, it's null and void, because that loan existed during the Shemitah year. So it says even though that the lo yigash comes into effect way later, it comes into effect at the 10-year mark, li de lo yigash, but ultimately it's gonna be a erased loan. The loan will not be paid because Shemitah erased it. It has lo yigash involved. So the question. So he's pretty much asking, saying that what is it? What is a 10-year loan? How could there be a 10-year loan? Shemitah is going to erase the loan at a certain point in the middle. So what is this 10-year loan that the Mishnah is talking about? So Meitiv Rav Kahana. So Rav Kahana challenges the ruling. Omdim kama adam rotze liten vehu litin vehiyu elav zuz beyado bein litin mikan ad shoshim yom umikan ubein litin mikan ad eser shanim. So then Rav Kahana quotes our very Mishnah, and he says, "What are you talking about?" Clearly, according to this Mishnah, that if there's a 10-year loan involved with the edim zumamin, you have to evaluate the difference of a 30-day loan and a 10-year loan, the monetary value difference between a 30-day loan and a 10-year loan. Now, if you were to tell me that the 7th year cancels it, then the Zomin should have to pay the full amount. Because think about this. If somebody says, okay, I give you $1,000, you have to pay me back in 10 years. And then the 7th year comes and and I mean the Shemitah year comes and cancels it. So now I received for free $1,000. But now two Edim come and say, "What are you talking about? It's not 10 years. It's 30 days." So I went from not having to pay anything to 30 days is before the Shemitah year. Shemitah year is going to be in year 4. So all of a sudden now I have to. So now I have to pay. I went from having to pay nothing to having to pay $1,000. So why are we evaluating the difference in the value of a 90-day loan? I mean a 30-day loan in a 10-year loan? It doesn't matter. The value difference is the $1,000 that I borrowed, because I went from having to pay nothing to having to pay $1,000. So that's what the Edim Zomin were trying to inflict, the full cost of the loan, which is 1,000 zuz, not dollars, but I use dollars for simplicity. Anyways, so he uses our Mishnah as a proof to this question. I mean, to refute the opinion that the 7th year will cancel a 10-year loan. Okay. So then Rava said in defense of Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. He says, Hacha b'mayaskinan. What situation is the Mishnah dealing with? This Mishnah that we're dealing with now, it's dealing with b'malve et al hamashkon. It's dealing with a situation where somebody lends something with collateral. What's collateral? He says, I'll take a hold of your or think of an item. Like, I'll take your car, okay? And until you pay me back the $1,000, I'm going to hold on to your car. That's called collateral. Collateral is when you give an item as insurance to the lender to say, I'll pay you back, hold on to this until I pay you back, and when I pay you back, you give it back to me. If I never pay you back, it's yours. So that's what. So we're dealing with a case where somebody's dealing with a mashkon with collateral, or or somebody who gives his loan documents to the courts. Ditzanan, for we learned in the Mishnah, Hamalava al Mashkon, V'hamoser shtar al beitin en mashmitin. Because we learned in the Mishnah that if somebody gives loans based on collateral, or somebody gives his loan documents to the Beit Din, then the Shemitah year doesn't cancel the loan. So therefore, since we're dealing with this specific situation, you can't use our Mishnah to refute the opinion that the 7th year cancels a loan, because our situation is dealing specifically in cases where the 7th year won't. It's a specific case, a specific situation where the 7th year won't cancel it. But as a whole, if these two things weren't met, if it wasn't based on mashkon, or if it wasn't on collateral, or if the loan documents weren't given to the Beit Din, then you could say that the 7th year cancels it. So now we're going to have this discussion. It's going to be rephrased. It's the same discussion. We come to the same conclusions, but it's just a different flow of how it happens. It's an alternative. It was an alternative recounting of the discussion. So, Ika de Amre, there are those who say that the conversation went like this. He says, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel. So Rav Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel. Hamalav et chaver le'eser shanim. Somebody who loans to his friend or his fellow loan for a 10-year period. Ein shvi'it mishamateto. The 7th year does not cancel the loan. Ve'afal gav de'atelide lo yigash. And even though this loan, the lo yigash, isn't happening at the Shemitah year, it's happening at the 10-year mark, way later. Hashta miha. Nevertheless, now at the time of the time that the debt is canceled is during the Shemitah year. Hashta miha. Nevertheless, now lo krinan be lo yigash. We can apply the rule of lo yigash, of you cannot press it when the loan is done. So now, if you look before, what was Rav Shmuel's opinion? He says Shmuel said that the Shemitah cancels it. But here, in the initial telling, but here in this telling, Rav Shmuel says, Shemitah does not cancel it. And then Rav Kahana, who initially in the other version disagreed with Shmuel, all of a sudden now you see him agreeing with Shmuel and giving in with Rav Shmuel and giving support. He says, Amar Rav Kahana. Rav Kahana says, Af ananami tanina. We also learned in the Mishnah, Omdim kama adam rotze liten v'hiyu elev zuz beyado. Bein liten mikan ad shoshim yom, uvein liten mikan ad deshanim. So then Rav Kahana says, as support, look at our Mishnah. Our Mishnah is saying that we assess and in this situation that we have, right, edim zomin come and they lie about the length of the terms. We assess the difference in the value of a 30-day loan and a 10-year loan, and that's how much the edim zomin had to pay. Mishamateto, and if you were to tell me that the Shemitah year cancels it, then the Edim Zoyin have to pay the full value because it went from paying nothing to the full value. So Rav Kahana is supporting Shmuel this time because Shmuel's opinion is the opposite now. So before Shmuel said that Shemitah year cancels it, and Rav Kahana refutes. But here we're saying that Rav Shmuel says that Shemitah does not cancel it, and Rav Kahana is showing his support by bringing in our Mishnah. Except then Rava refutes the opinion of Rav Kahana and of Rav Yehuda, and Rav Yehuda's opinion, Rav Shmuel's opinion. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, and Rav Shmuel's opinion. It says Amar Rava, but Rava says, Haba b'mai skinan. Here, what are we dealing with? Where that you can't use this Mishnah as support for that opinion. What are we dealing in this Mishnah? We're dealing with a case with collateral. Or somebody who gives his loans to the Beit Din, to the courts. Ditna, and we learned in the Mishnah, Hamalav al-Mashkon, that, and we learned in the Mishnah that if somebody who loaned based on collateral, or somebody who gives their loan document to the Beit Din, the seventh year doesn't cancel it. So now we're going to talk about. So we're already talking about Rav Yehuda, who's bringing Rav Shmuel, in regards Rav Yehuda, who's bringing up the Rav Shmuel in the discussion of the Shemitah year. So now we're going to say, you know what? Let's talk about it more. Let's see what else he has to say. So the Gemara says another thing. Rav Yehuda, Rav Shmuel. Rav Yehuda says the name of Rav Shmuel. Ha'omer l'chavero, somebody who says to his friend, Almanat shelo teshamteni shvi'it. If somebody gives a loan, he says, hey buddy, I'll give you a loan for 10 years on condition, pay attention to the wording, it's very important. It says on condition that the seventh year, the Shemitah year, does not cancel it, then the seventh year cancels it. There's almanat shelo teshamteni shvi'it, on the condition that the sabbatical year not cancel the debt. The debt is still canceled. So the Gemara analyzes this ruling. It says, Lema kasav Shmuel. Maybe it's because, should we say that Shmuel, it's because Shmuel holds the opinion that matne al mashikatu v'torahu, that this condition is something that goes against something that's in the Torah. So if you can make any condition you want when it comes to loans, but if you make a condition that goes against something that's written in the Torah, that condition is null and void. It doesn't work. So he says, maybe we hold that, maybe Shmuel holds that this is considered a condition that goes against a Torah law, and therefore it's void. So matana alma shikatov Torah, that this is a stipulation that's contrary to what's in the Torah. V'kol hamatneh alma shikatov Torah, and anything that's a condition that goes against what's written in the Torah, tenau batel, is null and void. So the Gemara asks, this can't be. Why? It says v'ha'itmar, but we have a situation where Shmuel said something that would contradict that. He says, Ha'omer lechavero. So Shmuel said in another case, somebody who says to his friend, Almanat she'ein lecha alai ona'a. He says, on the condition, it's usher to rip somebody off in a business deal. You can't rip someone off. So if Shmuel says, on condition that you can't that on condition that you have no claim of price fraud against me, that you have no claim that I cheated you. Rav says yesho lavona, that the buyer can still, even though he agreed to this condition, claim fraud on the sale. Ushmuel Omer, but Shmuel says ein lo lavona, that the buyer doesn't have the right to claim on him price fraud. So right here we see a situation where ripping somebody off is against halacha. So then, except then you have Rav Shmuel who says that you can make a stipulation that goes against the halachic ruling, which is that you can't rip somebody off. So Rav Shmuel is saying that if somebody makes that stipulation, even though it's against halacha, you're allowed to make that stipulation. So how could Shmuel hold that making a stipulation against the Torah law is asur? Because here we're seeing that it holds water, according to Rav Shmuel. So the Gemara answers, Ha'itmar Allah, because it has been said about the statement that we just mentioned. It says, Amar Rav Anan said, Ledidi mefarsha le minei de Shmuel. It was explained to me personally by Rav Shmuel. Almanat she'ein lecha alai ona'a. If he said the exact words, which is on the fact that you have no claim of fraud against me, meaning you forfeit your right to claim fraud, ein lo alav ona'a, then the person cannot give up. That person cannot claim fraud. He can't claim fraud because he gave up his right. But if the condition is almanat she'ein bo ona'a, he says on the condition that there is no such thing as ona'a, meaning on the condition with the words that there is no ona'a, it's not lecha. It's not in our case you can't claim fraud. He's saying that there's no ona'a at all. Hare yesh ba'ona, then the buyer could claim fraud. So just to recap, if the seller says, listen, I'll sell it to you at this price on condition that you cannot claim fraud against me, then that works because the buyer knowingly forfeited his right, specifically his rights in this situation. But if the seller says on condition that the whole idea of there's no such there's no ona'a, period, not in our specific case, period, there is no such thing as ona'a, so then that's clearly going against the Torah, because the Torah clearly states that there is such thing as ona'a. So that is wrong. Then that stipulation is void, and the person could claim fraud. So the Gemara is going to apply that logic to our situation now. So Hafinami. So here too, almanat shelo tishamteni b'shvi'it. If somebody says on condition that you will not cancel your debt with me on the sabbatical year, meaning this specific case, then ein shvi'it misham teto. Then the seventh year does not cancel it, because you agreed to forfeit your right of having the seventh year canceling it as the borrower. But if the verbiage is used, almanat shelo tishamteni shvi'it, but if the verbiage is used that the seventh year won't cancel this loan, then you're going against something that's written in the Torah, because the Torah says that the seventh year will cancel this loan. It's not that you're giving up your right. You're saying that the seventh year won't cancel it. It won't work. So, shvi'it mishamateto. So in the seventh year, cancels it. So now we're going to go into the next teaching. The Gemara is teaching us something else. Tana Braita. Hamalavo et chaveru stam. If somebody lends to his friend money with no terms, no time limit, just pay me whenever. I'll give you $1,000 that you need $1,000. Whenever I need the money, or you can give me the money back, give me the money back. So somebody who lends his friend stam, that's what stam means. It means that there's no deadline associated with the loan. Einu rashai letoveo pachot mishloshim yamim. the lender cannot press the borrower to pay the money back under 30 days. Meaning, if I give you money with no deadline, I'll just ask for it when I need it. That means that there's at minimum 30-day period where the lender cannot ask for the money back. So Rabba Bar Chana came to Rav Lemeimar. So Rabba Bar Chana said next to Rav this opinion. He says, Hani mili be'melave b'shtar. This is only regarding somebody who writes a contract for the loaning. So if somebody, because nobody's going to go through the whole process of writing a contract for a loan that's going to be less than 30 days. Writing a contract is a not easy business. So somebody won't go through the whole process of writing a shtar, getting it signed, etc., for something that's going to take less than 30 days. So if I lend something to you with no deadline, using a contract, then even though that there's no contract specified on the document, since we went through the whole process of writing a document, we could assume that it's not going to be a small time 30-day loan. I mean, less than 30-day loan. It's going to be at least 30 days or more. Now we're going to learn that in here. It says, the cut of shtar, because it would be unusual for a person to work that much. But sir mitlatin yomin, if it was for a loan that's less than 30 days, it's too much work for such a small time loan. Aval milva al pelo, but if somebody uses a verbal exchange, then that's not true. So if I write a contract that says there's no deadline, then I can't ask you less than 30 days. But if I just give you money and I say just pay me back whenever, since it's not so formal, then there's no understanding that it's going to be less than 30 days because the work wasn't put in. So clearly, there's no like connotation that like, oh, he meant in more than 30 days. Amar le Rav. Rav tells him he's going to reject it. He says, Hachi Amar Chavivi. My uncle Rav Chia said this to me. He said, Echad Amalava Bishtar, Echad Amalava Alpeh. This applies to somebody who lends based on a contract, and somebody who applies from a verbal agreement. It doesn't matter if it's written or not. If somebody gives a loan with no due date, there's a minimum of 30 days before he could start asking for the money back. So the Gemara cites another Braita which supports this opinion that Rav said in the name of his uncle Rav Chia. It says, Tanya Nami Hachi, we also learn in a Braita as well. Hamalave et chaveru stam, if somebody lends to his friend money without a deadline, Eino rashai letoveo pachot mishoshim yom, he cannot demand the money back for less than 30 days. Echad hamalave bishtar, v'echad hamalave alpeh. Somebody who lends based on a written document, or somebody who does a verbal agreement. So now they're going to say, why do people hold this way? What's the source for this opinion? So Amar le Shmuel Rav Matna. So Rav Shmuel said to Rav Matna, Lo tetev akarayich. Don't sit down ad mefarshat la leha shmata until you explain this teaching. Minaha mitlata yom. Mitlata da Amar Rabbanan, from where the rabbis get this rule that from where do the rabbis get this rule? Minaha the Hamalave et Chaveru Stam, that if somebody gives the money with no due date, Eino Rashal Tuato Pachot Mishoshim Yamim, that they can't collect under 30 days. And so Rav Shmuel said to Rav Matna, you don't sit down until you explain to me where the rabbis is the source for this opinion that you can't pay back somebody, that you can't collect under 30 days, whether it's by shtar or whether it's by mouth, if there's no due date specified. Oh, my bad. There's somebody who does it by mouth, or there's somebody who does it orally, or somebody who does it written down. So Amalei, he answered him. He said, "Dichtiv, is written Karva Shnat Sheva Shnat Hashmita. It says in the Torah that this that the seventh year approaches. Karva Shnat Hasheva, the seventh year comes close. Shnat Hashmita, the Shemitah year. So it says the seventh year, and it says the Shemitah year. So then it says, Mimash Mashine'emar Karva Shnat Hasheva. If the Torah says that the seventh year is approaching, Eini Yodea Shehi Shnat Hashmita, don't I know that it's referring to the Shemitah year? So why is it saying the Shnat Shemitah afterwards? So it's saying the seventh year, the year of the Shemitah is coming. If it says the seventh year, I know that that's Shemitah. So why does it repeat it? Why is it redundant? Why does it say the seventh year, the year of the Shemitah? Elama Talmud Lomar Shnat Shemitah. If so, what's the purpose of it saying the year of the Shemitah? So it says Lomar Lach, to teach you that there's an inyan that we have to learn before we go further in the Gemara, that in regards to Orla, if you can't eat fruit from a tree that's been planted for less than 3 years. But that's not 3 years from the date of the planting, that's 3 calendar years. So now let's say that so it's from 3 Rosh Hashanahs pretty much. Kind of. It's like giving a very rudimentary explanation. So let's say I plant my tree a week before Rosh Hashanah. Does that year count as its first year? The answer is no. The halacha is that it has to be 30 days before Rosh Hashanah for that year to count. So now we can continue. It says, Elama Talmud Lomar Shnat Shemitah. So what is it trying to teach us when it says Shnat Shemitah? That extra words. So it's Lomar Lach to teach you, Yesh Shemitah Acheret Shehi Kazo. That there is another Shemitah, meaning that there's another time period that has the same properties as Shemitah. Ezezo, which time period has these properties? It says Hamalav et Chavero Stam, somebody who lends his money without a specified due date. She'eno rasha letvoato pachot mishoshim yom, that he cannot ask the money back for less than 30 days. Damar Mark, because the masters say, because the Rabbanim say, Shloshim Yom B'Shana Chashuv Shana, that 30 days is considered a year. So in Orla we say that 30 days counts as a year. So then you can say that the Shemitah year could also be considered, where the Shemitah year you can't cancel it. I mean, you can't collect it after the Shemitah year. So that's a year. The 30-day equivalent would be the 30 days after somebody gives a loan stam without a due date. Then the lender cannot collect under the 30 days. That for 30 days, his ability to collect is canceled as well for those 30 days. So now it's going to go into a whole discussion with the mikvah and the lugin and the chavit, but that's a whole nother sugya, kind of. It's just going to go into other things that Rabbi Yehuda said. It doesn't have to do with what we're learning now, and I've kind of gone over. I tried to aim at now. I realized 25 is the magic number, 25 minutes. So chazak baruch, and b'ezrat Hashem, I'll see you tomorrow.